I'm sure you've already looked for a Harry Potter podcast everywhere.
Notam Seção Reservada.
Yeah, but you know there's going to be an official Harry Potter podcast now, right?
I heard about it. Did you see?
No, they took our spot.
They're jealous.
I made some noise, didn't I, Dad?
I made some noise.
The guy is scared.
I posted that there will be a podcast, and people were like, what do you mean? There's already an official one. It's Seção Reservada. Guys, thanks for the love. We know it's just messing around, but we also mess around, right?
Seção Reservada came with it. But like HBO Max announced that now, I think it's May 16th, right?
May 19th. There will be 16 episodes. It will be hosted by a woman who is a film critic and also a Harry Potter fan. And there will be some special guests too. Man, that's really cool. It will be on HBO Max. It's going to be released on HBO Max.
From what I saw, there will be 2 episodes about each of the movies, right? That makes a total of 16 episodes, right? 2 episodes per movie. Cool.
I'm looking forward to watching it.
But I'm going to be honest with you now.
Be honest.
When that talk show was launched, the one hosted by Ellen Mirren, it was a big disappointment for me.
For me too.
Too scripted.
I thought it was stiff. Even the mistakes of...
If those people weren't acting, then I'm a refrigerator.
No. Man, even the mistakes. Like, the person, the girl answering with Dumbledore's name right there. Man, like, come on, with multiple choice, No.
Stop it, man. Like, I remember when this show came out, and I love Ellen Mirren. She even said she wanted to be in the movies and all. She would be an excellent Minerva. I remember going to watch it then, but I couldn't finish the whole thing.
No, I watched the whole thing.
Different from the Twins show?
The cake one, right?
Is it also a little scripted? Yeah, of course, but at least the show is interactive.
Man, you know that the people who compete on that show are on a bunch of others too, right? You see, there's a show there every day. Is it cake?
They're all there, yeah.
Like, it's fake.
Yeah, no, it's kind of, yeah. Like, he takes part in several.
I'm curious how they'll be, especially since Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. And Warner has a lot of activities going on throughout the year. In August, the first movie will be re-released in theaters. I'm not sure if it'll happen in Brazil, but in the United States, it will include 10 minutes of new behind-the-scenes footage. Ever seen those videos that just go, man?
Here, no.
Man, and it's going to be, I think it's the 4th time I'm going to watch Sorcerer's Stone in theaters during a re-release.
But this time with an extra scene. No, man, with 10 extra minutes.
I hope they show the official series trailer after the screening. Can you imagine?
There won't be. The trailer will come out on September 1st.
The screening is set for around August 30th. No, I don't know either. You never know, right? That could be cool. Actually, I've always liked the idea of having the episodes in theaters too. Not all of them, at least the first one.
At least the first. That would be cool.
That would be cool. HBO partnering with Warner Bros. Pictures Brazil. That's it.
Seção Reservada. What's that?
Filling up an IMAX theater?
Hey, look here. Hey.
Hey, we do subscriber screenings for the movies, and the theater is always packed.
There's potential to fill an IMAX theater here.
Okay. Hey, let me tell you something.
HBO.
A message for you. I went to watch a movie and Imaginago showed up talking.
Oh, at the beginning of the...
Explaining it, yeah, cool.
Imagine if they do that. Invite us to do it. How cool. Then we show up at the movies talking.
I'd then record in the theater and be allowed to...
Take pictures and record in the theater. Hey, Tibiol, let's talk.
We're here, man. Always. We're friends, we're partners. But that's it. We're friends, we're women. That idea of an episode in the theater is cool. Just the first one, okay? So it doesn't ruin that thing of the magic of, if it's a TV series, you can watch it on your TV with your family. But the first episode in the theater would be awesome. Amazing. I think we're coming up to something really cool this December. And I hope that all the activities, all these 25th anniversary celebrations we're having, next year there will be more. Every year they plan something, right? Every year there's something to celebrate. Yes. And next year, in 2027, it'll also be 20 years since Order of the Phoenix. Yeah. I don't want to see that in theaters, no. Yeah.
I'll just go for the fun, just for the crowd.
David Yates, that's fine.
Yeah, look, here's the thing. But
we haven't shared the announcements with everyone.
We're here on YouTube on the Caldeirão Furado channel in collaboration with Observatorio Potter. That's it. If you're watching us, give us a like and leave your comment.
remember that you can send your message through the Memento Bearador to appear here in the episodes. If you are a little folder.
Wow, man, look, hey, you're drinking water, huh? My water is out here. Was it?
If you're listening,
If you're going to talk about him today, go ahead, water.
Harry. Water.
Wow, it's a lot like this.
Right? I'm like this now. Water. Wow. If you're listening to us on Spotify or any other podcast or audio player. What ravers? I don't know. Come on. Oh, okay, no. Yeah, you can rate us there with 5 stars. Make it 5. If you're going to give 4, 3, we don't even need it.
All the ratings are 5 stars there on Spotify. In fact, don't even give people the idea to...
People will now say it just to be spiteful.
Someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
I hated it. 5 stars.
All right, enjoy. All right. Yeah, just like the subscriber from Observatorio Potter. Loved it.
Loved it. Not a star.
Come on, you did an impression of Dumbledore, and now we're going to talk about it, right? The episode me?
I'm going to defend this. I'll say it now.
Will they?
Objection. Defense witness.
Wow, you really nailed the impression this time, huh?
Did you like it? Thank you.
Now call the voice actor over. Dumbledore, we really got off topic. No, we've really gotten off topic about Dumbledore in the last almost 30 episodes of Observatorio. Wow, poor guy.
Dumbledore?
I mean, you're crazy.
Man, he's nuts.
In the 30 episodes of Seção Reservada, we avoided this topic, but I think it's a topic that, look.
There,
look who's here. Come here, boo-boo.
Come here.
Go ahead. What's your opinion about Dumbledore, boo-boo, man?
Dumbledore is the best character ever.
Wow.
You're finally here. About time, man.
Oh, the great boo-boo. Man, I missed you, boo-boo, see? And to talk about one of the characters who is controversial, right? He's a character like...
Beloved. To me, there's nothing controversial about him. To me, he's the guy. The great Albus Dumbledore. The greatest wizard in the world.
I think you're going down a dangerous path.
I'm not going down a dangerous path. I'm going down a path I can back up.
Are you going to defend Dumbledore and his choices? So today we're going to use today's episode to talk a little about that, because a lot of theories were floating around back when the books were coming out. There were a lot of people saying that Dumbledore was a very manipulative guy, right? That he treated the whole Harry Potter story, or Harry specifically, like a chess game. And as Severus Snape would say, he raised him like a pig for slaughter. Yeah, I remember Dumbledore. The name was Harry Potter.
Now that you've offended the...
Boy. So, and Dumbledore, he has this thing, right? I think he has this thing about his actions, not that they can be questioned, but at least analyzed in a way like, okay, is that the right thing?
So, what's right here is subjective. Okay. What's right here is relative.
I'll start by bringing up one that, at least for me, I have some questions about.
is it, should we start from the beginning? Let's do it.
The fact that he left him with the Dursleys, knowing that the Dursleys were horrible and that he could have a miserable childhood.
Okay. There's an explanation for that, right? There is. I think the book itself gives that explanation for why he had to go to the Dursleys. It's a matter of survival. It's about the house.
And even more, Dumbledore. He was the only one. He was the only person who knew the prophecy in its entirety.
The only one. And he knew the chance. That it had a chance of coming true when Voldemort goes after the Potters. When he tries to kill Harry and actually suffers his downfall. That is the beginning of the prophecy starting to be fulfilled. And Dumbledore, very clever, very intelligent, very good at reading the whole situation, realizes how Voldemort would increasingly follow this path and make the prophecy more and more real. Yes, so he knows that Harry, from that moment on, would be doomed to a certain fate.
And leaving him with the Dursleys not only protected him, right? Because of the...
That's actually important to mention. That's the fact. He says it's the only family he has. Exactly. And the fact that their family is exactly why Dumbledore chooses Vernon and Petunia. Petunia is Lily's sister. Exactly. She's of the same blood as Lily. Exactly.
It's the blood bond, exactly when she accepts Harry at her doorstep, that validates the extension of Lily's protection spell, which Dumbledore extended to the Dursleys' house using that bond. So there, he's protected. Besides that, he even says it himself when Minerva says, right? Oh, there won't be a person who doesn't know Harry's name. He's going to be famous.
And so it's good for him to grow up away from all of that.
And Dumbledore, in the 5th book, when he's telling Harry about the prophecy, he says the following.
Would it have been good for you to grow up as a spoiled little prince? Super famous? I don't know. Would that have shaped the Harry you are today? You know? So, it was something he went through. Yes. Undeniably, Harry suffered a lot. He was just a child. It's really heavy. He went through that. But that, in a way,
Created Harry. I'm not romanticizing it, okay? I'm not romanticizing it.
but it's just that it created the Harry we know. It created the Harry who fights against Voldemort. It created the Harry who sacrifices himself for others. Did you understand?
Yeah, but I see Harry as a child who, to me, is already suffering tremendously at the start of the book, right? With the loss of his parents, right?
That's right.
But people also have to remember that Harry, until he was 11 years old, didn't know how his parents died and didn't even know he was a wizard. That takes some of the blame off Dumbledore. Of course, he was raised by Walter and Petunia. What I mean is that Harry only found out later. He could go to Dumbledore and say, damn, why didn't anyone come and tell me this before? Because they hid this information from him for 11 years, the real information. That's what Hagrid tells him, right? How his parents died.
Yeah, that's it. Actually, that's much more on the Dursleys, right? The Dursleys hid it. Dumbledore knew they could, right? That Harry could have a harder life there, because the Dursleys were really difficult people. But he didn't think. He had no way of knowing that they would completely hide it and not tell him anything.
Okay, but don't you think there was a lack of affection from Dumbledore, from Minerva during those 11 years? At least a small sign that we're here watching you grow? Because you said that, I think that's what's cool about today's episode. Thinking, okay, cool. Harry was supposed to grow up this way so he could become the teenager, the adult man he turns into. Okay, I get that. But a small gesture of we see you? Come on, does a boy really need to go hungry? A boy be abused? A boy? That's what I question, you know? The sign of affection I'm talking about is I know you can't reveal that he's a wizard yet, and you reveal it at the right time. Yes, when he needs to go to Hogwarts at 11 years old. But at least a minimal sign of we see you and we're watching what's happening. I don't know, maybe pop Walter's tire there with a snap of your fingers, man. Man, that's the kind of extra thing I wonder about.
But I don't know how good of a thing that would be, you know?
Because he could get even more curious too.
Harry could get confused. Like, not understanding what it is, what's going on, where it's coming from. These things happen to him. Yeah.
His own magic things.
From the street. He feels like the person knows him, which confuses and unsettles him. So imagine strange things happening. I don't know. That's how I think.
Of course, but what about Mrs. Fig too? We forget about her, but Mrs. Fig, she's watching.
Exactly.
That's exactly what's happening, and that's what is implied in Order of the Phoenix. When she appears for the first time in a more concrete way, it makes me feel like she was always watching.
Exactly. And then she sides with Harry on some issues, and she says, "Oh, sorry I wasn't so nice." Because if the Dursleys knew you were having fun, they wouldn't let you stay at home. So, like, you understand that it's something that... So, yes, it's very sad. Everything Harry went through is really, really heavy. But, in a way, that made him who he was, man. He had a huge burden to carry, you know? Yeah, he had a huge burden, a huge responsibility of being the chosen one, you know? So, that shaped who he needed to be.
Unfortunately, it's sad, it's heavy, but that's how it had to be.
Yeah, and whether we like it or not, the blood connection is still really important. Okay, he went there because he needed to go to protect himself too. It's because I see a lot of people saying, oh, why didn't Dumbledore let Harry live with the Weasleys? Wouldn't he be much happier? He would. Man, Arthur would say, damn, another one, man.
No, he could be. He would be happy. Arthur could. They could use Harry's own money, which was in the vault, to pay for Harry's things. Damn, he could be really happy.
One hand would wash the other, since Harry would bring the money. Yeah?
Hey, oh,
Weasley, your troubles are over now, you know? You can get a better quality ice cream.
yeah, that's right.
But I get it, yeah.
Yeah, he could be much happier, but
At what cost, right?
At what cost? How would that reflect in the future? Yeah.
because what we need to understand is that Harry, he values friendship so much, right? When he meets Ron, when that bond is formed, precisely because it was something he never had.
And it's one of the coolest traits of the character. It's him discovering what a loving family is, which in this case are the Weasleys. So when Harry visits the Burrow for the first time, for me, it's one of the coolest moments in the whole series. Yes, when he discovers what the love of a family is. Exactly. Weasley completely represents that. Yes, they have nothing in that family. He wins. The Weasleys, they're a family that clearly struggles financially, but they're loved, they're rich in other ways.
Rich in what money can't buy.
That's the best way to define the Weasleys. Then you see a wealthy family like the Malfoys, who live for status, but they have nothing.
And rich only in money.
Look at that, huh?
Did you like it?
I liked it a lot. You're crazy. That's it, guys.
Jera, it's not mine. No.
That phrase, no, I imagined it. From some ancestor, from some group that passes things down from generation to generation. But that was one of the most questionable points, I think, among the sons, which is Harry's childhood with the Dursleys. And for me, at least, that part is pretty settled. It's wrong, guys. In fact, leave in the comments what you think about this, right?
I don't blame Dumbledore for that, man. No, not at all.
So, on that subject, you can easily defend him. I understand.
I understand. You don't defend him. I understand the way Dumbledore acted and why he did it.
All right, okay.
You know, fair enough. I really feel sorry for Harry for everything he goes through. But man, that was essential for him.
And Dumbledore?
No one deserves to go through that, but it was essential for him.
Okay. I agree, okay? Today I might not agree with everything you say in today's episode. That's not a problem. But to get back to talking about Dumbledore, I think it's really important for us to also talk about the past, when Dumbledore also made a very questionable decision in his life.
Ah, right there, man.
No, I mean back in the time of Grindelwald, yes.
Young, immature, egocentric, in love.
Yes. And for the greater good, yes. One of the most striking phrases which brings together Dumbledore and Grindelwald, thinking about ending the statute of secrecy and that wizards
Wizards would rule.
Because come on, being submissive to muggles is not cool at all.
Yeah, and man, at this point, I don't think there's anything to defend. Like, there's nothing. I don't even think it needs to be defended. Because the story itself already shows that this is a point where Dumbledore failed, where he made a mistake.
And for the rest of his life, that stayed with him. That was when his sister died. Yeah, you get it? The destruction of his family. That stayed with him.
And for the rest of his life, the regret stayed with him for the rest of his life. And I think it says a lot more about the attitude he took after these events, fighting for the rights of muggles, defending people, you know? Than that phase he had as a teenager, at 17 years old, just wanting to show off and prove that he was really capable of anything. You know, because he was a powerful guy.
Yeah, there's no point in people thinking that Dumbledore is a villain, because what he wanted was, I don't know, the end of wizards being subjugated together with Grindelwald. At that point in his life, like you said, he does one of the things he'll regret for the rest of his life, which is not having spent more time there with Ariana. Yes. And the fact that he caused that whole duel between Aberforth, Ariana, and Grindelwald, and a spell that no one ever knew whose wand it came from. That's right. In Fantastic Beasts 3, he remembers that moment in a really meaningful way. Yes. because you can clearly see that Dumbledore doesn't think he's enough. He doesn't think he's pure of heart. And then comes the Keelan, the creature, and tells him that, yes, you are pure of heart. Yes. Because he spends the whole movie doubting that, thinking he doesn't deserve it, or that he would never deserve it. And Newt says, I love that scene, by the way. I miss at least those moments from Fantastic Beasts where Newt says that, he puts up a front. A line in the dark right there after Ariana's portrait there at the Hogshead. That part is really beautiful.
Yeah, cool. Dumbledore. And we also need to take the context into account, of the situation.
His sister was attacked by muggles and was left completely traumatized. His father went to protect his daughter.
He went to prison?
And he was arrested and died in prison, So.
And the mother was killed by her daughter. Exactly. So, man, that's traumatic.
It's not a fairy tale, It's a heavy story too. So, all of this for a young, brilliant guy with his whole life ahead of him, just 17 years old,
I read something really cool earlier today on my way here because I knew we were going to record an episode on this topic. And I read something really cool, which is like this. When you go through a number of traumas in your life, like Dumbledore did, you end up becoming a more controlling person, whether you want to or not. Yes. You want to take control of all the narratives so that you want to treat life like a big game of chess. To prevent that kind of thing from happening, you have to be in control of everything, because if you're not in control anymore, that kind of thing can happen again. And I think that says a lot about Dumbledore. It says a lot about him. He lost his sister and mother, and his father was imprisoned. So much happened. So every real person becomes a piece in his chess game, part of the larger narrative he wants to control.
Yeah, and it's not a narrative for his own gain. It's not something he wants to do to brag about himself. How long did he postpone the fight with Grindelwald? Of course, out of fear, right? Of knowing the truth, of facing the truth. But how long did he postpone the fight? He knew he was the only one who was on equal footing there. Maybe even a little above Grindelwald. Yes. He never chose to brag about it. And one thing I find really amazing about Dumbledore is his modesty, It's not a false modesty.
He really treats everyone with kindness, even people who are despicable,
And how much Dumbledore teaches us through what he says, With his life experience, with all of that.
With the perspective on life he shows in the things he does.
And I think we don't really need to defend him. Because the story is already self-explanatory. I don't think Dumbledore is a character we're going to defend or accuse. The story is self-explanatory, man. He has his moments that we can analyze, for sure. But he's brilliant, man. For me, it's his foresight, the way he sees things no one else does. The guy is brilliant, man.
Yeah, he's brilliant, of course. He's definitely brilliant. The way he's presented always as the wizard that Voldemort always feared the most. I think Dumbledore's greatness is undeniable. But there are things in the Harry Potter story that I think are worth discussing a bit. For example, he's the greatest wizard of all time, but is he a good headmaster of Hogwarts, for example? Do you think the fact that Dumbledore makes this clear, it's not just about Dumbledore, okay? I think it's an issue we can bring up here about the danger that Hogwarts students are put in every year. Not necessarily that this is Dumbledore's fault, okay? But come on, a lot of things, whether we like it or not, he's the one who hires the teachers. Does the narrative have to happen? It has to happen. We know that. It's a story. It's fiction. All right, every year something has to happen. It's part of the story. But doesn't it get to a point where he becomes a bit negligent with the school's own safety?
I don't think it's negligence. Do you know why?
Dumbledore is a guy who, while he's there,
he's in control of the situation. He's in control of the situation. While he's there, he knows he can handle it.
But how long does he wait? He likes being someone who waits. For example, Ginny Weasley could have died. What if Harry didn't go into the Chamber of Secrets?
All right.
Another student could have died on his watch. We really remember Dippet during the music days.
But wait. Dumbledore didn't know where the Chamber of Secrets was, where the Chamber of Secrets was located.
Until then, no student had been taken to the Chamber of Secrets.
It had been closed since Salazar Slytherin's time, right?
No student had been taken. The existence of the chamber hadn't been proven.
He really says the Chamber of Secrets really was opened again. Because it happened back when Voldemort studied at Hogwarts, but it was never found, never discovered. No student was taken. Fair enough.
So
He did. He was investigating what he could investigate. But we have this idea that Dumbledore is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. It's not like that.
He's not a god.
He's a wizard. Even though he's brilliant, he has this ability to anticipate and understand things that other people don't.
He's not 100% sure that he's going to solve everything there, you know?
and his legitimacy, isn't it only used when it's convenient? For example, he's one of the greatest mind readers in wizard history. Okay, Snape is an excellent occlumens. He will block any wizard who tries to read his mind.
But then, who would he use legitimacy on, for example?
No, I mean, even when hiring teachers.
But he knew that Quirrell, for example, he knew that Quirrell was up to something there.
Because we see in Snape's memory, him saying, keep an eye on Quirrell.
And that's at the beginning of the school year. Quirrell had just been hired. So he knew.
He knew. You see? So Harry even mentions it at the end of the book, right, Allie?
It seems like Dumbledore wanted me to do these things.
You know? Because if we stop to analyze Dumbledore as the one behind it all, he knows that Harry is the chosen one. Uh-huh.
He knows the entire prophecy.
Because he knows the prophecy.
So there are things he lets happen, you know? To really
Okay, so
prepare Harry, but you see that he isn't, because he knows that. He knows about the prophecy and all, that he's negligent, that he doesn't just let someone die. Like, if they die, right? Man, he comes back desperate. When he goes to the Ministry of Magic, when he's tricked, when he gets the letter, he's deceived. He goes to the Ministry. He comes back to rescue Harry there, and he arrives. He gets scared because he thinks he got there too late, you know? So,
in Sorcerer's Stone,
I don't think he's negligent to the point of just letting someone die. Like, if they die, they die. I think he just lets it happen. Like that. The students, not just Harry, all of them, to push themselves to the limit, to explore their abilities, how they solve things. It's dangerous.
Dumbledore's curiosity to see how the situation will turn out, can that be dangerous? It can be dangerous for the students, but
Don't you think we analyze things too much by the standards of the real world? It's a school of magic, man. Like, it's a story where the kids are witches, you know?
yeah, it's not a school.
Of kids.
Defenseless.
Quidditch is super dangerous in the real world.
Man, in the real world, you would never let your kid play a sport where they could get hit by a ball that could crack someone's head open, right?
And I'll give you an example that even shows up in Prisoner of Azkaban. Harry is falling off his broom, and what does Dumbledore do? He reaches out his hand and says, Arresto momentum, and that's it. Done. In other words, we have a team of teachers and a very skilled staff of wizards there. That's why it's not fair to put all the weight on Dumbledore's shoulders and think that he also, since we have a faculty of extremely talented wizards, exactly, who are also there to help.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how I see it. I really do.
Man, of course, there are some tense things at Hogwarts, sure. But yeah, we're talking about a school of magic and wizardry, man, where there are fantastic creatures, It's not a normal school, you know? For a kid who wouldn't be able to use magic, you know?
A wizard named Sirius Black escaped from Azkaban. I'm not closing my school over that.
The school is protected, but it's only up to a point, right? There's protection.
But a guy walks into the Gryffindor common room with a knife.
You know what I realize about Hogwarts?
And what if he stabbed a student there?
He wouldn't do it. He wasn't like that.
No, I know.
But you know what? I understand what I get from Hogwarts, the protection of Hogwarts. It actually works. Yeah, it seems to work, right? Except for the period when Voldemort takes over, it seems like Hogwarts. It protects the school, like, it protects the students, like, the protection there is really against people who have bad intentions toward the students, okay? For example, I'll give an example of why this works for me.
Carlinhos' friends don't just fly into Hogwarts, right, to get the dragon? Hogwarts isn't protected, technically.
They shouldn't be able to get in, but they have no intention of doing anything bad, so they get in, like that. Have you seen Sinners?
No, but I wish I had.
The guys can't come in unless they're invited. Okay. The vampires.
Oh, okay.
So they can't enter unless invited. So, like, if the person doesn't have any intention of doing harm to students, to any innocent person, maybe that's the protection, then. That's why, like Sirius, he manages to get in. Because, he disguises himself as an animal.
He's also a student.
Yeah, he disguises himself as an animagus and all, and he manages to get in. Because he wanted to catch Pettigrew, who was a criminal, who was a murderer,
He didn't want to do anything bad.
Like, to the students or anything. Then, okay, there's Quirrell, who manages to get in, who's a teacher.
That already contradicts this idea. I know, I'm not saying that's how it is.
You said it. Something that makes total sense. If you think about that idea that Dumbledore has of protecting the Philosopher's Stone, right? Only a wizard who, exactly could have the stone without the intention.
Without wanting to use it.
So D already has that in mind. D.
Take Quirrell in Philosopher's Stone. He's been watched from the very beginning,
He's been watched from the very beginning. So even the challenge is set there.
Man, if you want to protect something, if you really want to protect something, why would you set up challenges like a scavenger hunt? So Dumbledore, he's ahead of the game,
He is,
He sets that up as bait, Like, to really make the guy who wants to get it go there and try to get it,
Right. Another point that we just talked about and I wanted to bring up here, for example, Snape. We know he's a terrible teacher, right? A teacher who mistreats students, bullies them, and often embarrasses them, including Harry himself. And every time someone tries, or at least Harry himself tries, to talk to Dumbledore about Snape, he defends him and says, Professor Snape, Harry, there's this thing. The books show this much more than the movies, right? Always Professor Snape, Harry, Professor Snape. But if any student went to Dumbledore and said, man, the professor did this, he mistreated me. Like,
Dumbledore would take care of things. What he didn't do was undermine the teacher's authority in front of the students. But he did have conversations with the teachers. For example, there's that part where Snape is talking, in the memory. Snape says, oh, Harry, he's arrogant just like
his father.
Yeah. Snape, then Dumbledore says, I think you're seeing what you want to see. Because all the reports are that the boy is a sweetheart, that he's hardworking, that he wants to learn.
And then you're dealing with another character's trauma, right? Like Snape has his own issues. Of course, Dumbledore knows that. He hired him. But he always saw in Snape also a way of Snape was emotionally destroyed back then when everything happened with Lily. And Dumbledore says, okay, I'll do it, but what will you give me in return?
But do you think that Dumbledore really raised Harry like a pig for slaughter there? That he didn't care about Harry, only about what Harry would become, and not about Harry as a child, the affection he needed and everything? I don't know. What do you think, man?
That's how I see it. I think everything was happening during Harry's 7 years and a lot of new things for Dumbledore too. Dumbledore was also discovering things, even how to defeat Voldemort himself. So during that time from 91 to 98, there was a lot going on in Dumbledore's mind too. In fact, in Half-Blood Prince, his hand is all messed up. Why? Out of curiosity?
Because of a moment of weakness.
Because of a moment of vulnerability, he put on Marvolo's ring to try to see Ariana again. So he too, even though he was the headmaster of a school, was vulnerable because of the traumas from his past. So saying Dumbledore is this or that isn't accurate because everything was happening then. And Harry brings Tom Riddle's diary, destroyed, to Dumbledore in Chamber of Secrets. And that's when the whole search and investigation begins. He researched the Horcruxes even though he already suspected it, So I really see that Dumbledore was also someone trying to figure out how to defeat the greatest dark wizard who was Voldemort because he could come back. So how am I going to judge Dumbledore at this moment since he was also trying to help the wizarding world and save the wizarding world too?
Yeah, I think what really comes into question is the way he did it.
I don't know if they question his intention that much, but the way he did it, the way he did it led to certain events. Irreversible ones,
The main thing, I think also the silence in Order of the Phoenix is something that really bothers me, okay? But also as a way to once again protect Harry. And then, during the conversation about the prophecy, by that point the boy has already lost his godfather as well. It happened, right? So, Harry destroys Dumbledore's entire office because he lost Sirius, who was real. The only family. He finds out he has a new relative. That relative dies, and Dumbledore, I wish I had felt a bit more clearly that he was empathetic. But when you wish you could feel even just a little more empathy from him? He gives Harry the silent treatment throughout the entire Order of the Phoenix. Harry, Dumbledore, Dumbledore.
And he leaves him in the dark, right?
He turns his back and keeps walking. I don't know, that's it. Sometimes it gets to me a little... Does he have his reasons? Yes, but it gets to me. Ignoring Harry at such a vulnerable moment for him. After Cedric dies in Goblet of Fire, you have Harry going through very strong post-traumatic stress and still being ignored by that wizard who, in theory, is his mentor there, the wise old man.
Yes. Man, Dumbledore, for me, the way he handles the situation is really very consistent.
It's very consistent because he's doing things in a way that only he knows why he's doing them.
And so, for us, it really sounds strange. Why is he ignoring Harry? Why did he leave Harry in the dark? Why did he keep things from Harry? And then, at that moment, when Harry destroys the room, he even says, "Go ahead, you can break it. I have plenty. I actually have a lot of stuff. You can break it." Yeah, and he says, "You're not even close to feeling the anger you would feel towards me. So, I have things to say that will make you feel the anger you should feel, because you should feel a lot more anger towards me." He also takes the blame for things, and he's aware of that guilt. And, for me, that's the key point, which shows that Dumbledore didn't raise Harry like a pig for slaughter, that he didn't raise Harry just to be killed, just to fight against Voldemort. Instead, he tried to prepare Harry for this and equip him with psychological strength, magical resources, magical ability, and character and integrity. For me, the proof of this is when he talks to Harry in Order of the Phoenix, when he says, "You arrived. I left you with your aunt and uncle," and explains all the protection, right? Yes. Then he says, "You made it to Hogwarts." Healthy.
No, I remember. In fact, that's one of the best conversations in all the books.
He says, "Not as much as I expected, but still, alive, safe, and secure." And you were only 11 years old.
And he goes through it book by book, right?
You were only 11 years old. I wanted to tell you about the prophecy.
He wanted to talk about the scene in the infirmary. That's right. But you were so young.
So young.
Right?
Yeah. He says, "You asked me a question that I wasn't ready to answer. Why did Voldemort want to kill you? Why do you have a scar?" Yeah. And then, in the second year, you came back after facing something there that I never imagined you would be able to face. And you proved yourself, once again, courageous, brave. And I still saw a child in you. No matter what he had done, Dumbledore still saw. saw Harry as a child.
And in the third year, he didn't have the courage. And then what he realized was that he had the plan.
Yes, but he put it off for a while.
He had the plan, but he kept putting it off because he got attached.
He developed for Harry the same thing he questions in Snape. When he's questioning Snape like, "Oh, don't tell me you've grown attached to the boy now," it's not sarcasm he's using. A lot of people take that as, "Oh, Dumbledore is mocking him." Yes, but he's not being sarcastic. He's actually surprised that Snape is questioning this, because up until that moment, Snape served out of remorse, and because of the love he had for Lily. Do you understand? So, Dumbledore goes and tells Harry, "What did it matter to me if, far from me, innocent creatures, innocent people died, as long as you were safe?" To me, that's not how someone raises a person just to die, man.
It's not.
It's not a person. And then, after Goblet of Fire, when he has that triumphant gleam in his eyes, yes, Dumbledore realizes that Harry might have a chance to come back. That's where it changes. That's where the switch flips. That's where he says, that's when he...
He says he used Harry's blood. Exactly. That's when Voldemort uses his blood to come back to life, right? Exactly.
That's when things change for Dumbledore, when he says, "Well, I think that's why it's the gleam of triumph. I think now Harry can face his destiny." Exactly. Voldemort can attack him in a deadly way, destroy the Horcrux, but he can survive. So, until that moment, he knew he would have to tell Harry at some point, "Look, part of Voldemort lives inside you and you have to die."
He knew that.
A genuine question. He knows he'll die in Half-Blood Prince. His hand is cursed and he expects to die by year's end, so he arranges for Snape to kill him then. And there's still the whole issue of Voldemort trusting Snape, the double agent and all that. Even knowing he was going to die, he goes with Harry to the cave. You know, there's the whole school year where Harry finds out about the Horcruxes, so he kind of hints to Harry like, "Harry, look, there are Horcruxes. Now you need to destroy them, right? Or they need to be destroyed for Voldemort to be defeated." But the part about Harry having to sacrifice himself, he finds out in the Pensieve.
He doesn't. That's not it. Okay.
In the multiverse, what if Harry didn't have access to what Snape kept inside him?
So?
And Harry would go, you know? Would all of this be for nothing?
That's a very specific point, and we can't think like that, right? And there's no what if, because if we start adding what ifs to the story, we change the story completely. Okay. What if Harry hadn't?
Would we end up in Hufflepuff and Slytherin?
Joined the Quidditch team. Okay. What if Harry... Yeah, okay. Like, we change the...
And not just in Harry Potter, in any story in literature.
Exactly, because any action will change everything.
That's right.
It could change even a single strand of hair.
Well, that's the famous butterfly effect, right? Exactly. There's no point in going what if. And because it doesn't make sense canonically, right? Exactly. Because it didn't happen.
Exactly. Snape really was taking a risk. Snape needed to tell Harry, but it was really very risky.
So much so that, well, Harry's instinct is, look at this. Harry, he has an instinct not to kill, not to attack, even with Stan Shunpike there, who was under the curse. He uses Expelliarmus to disarm, because he knew that if he knocked him off the broom, the guy was 30 meters up, he would fall, he would die, even though he was technically a Death Eater. Yes, chasing him, you know? Harry doesn't try to kill Voldemort. He defends himself from Voldemort. Voldemort dies from his own spell. So, Harry, he sees Snape there. He hated Snape. Snape killed Dumbledore, right? He had a mortal hatred for him. But even so, his instinct is to try to help. The guy is dying, and his instinct is to try to help.
I'm not sure how it is in the books, but in the movie it's cool that he tries to stop his neck from bleeding.
So, yeah, it's really risky for Snape to have that information.
But I think that knowing how Dumbledore was, and knowing how he had this plan, I think he made extra sure, in a way for Harry to know the truth, to have access to the truth, not just through Snape. I think so.
Yeah, one of the most incredible moments for me is when Harry, but Harry, he gets hit by Voldemort's Avada Kedavra, and he goes to that limbo, and Dumbledore is crying. Then he looks at Harry and he says, boy, right, brave boy, And he praises Harry in a way, and he also tells him about his past, about Grindelwald, everything. And in that moment in Limbo, Dumbledore even gets emotional. I think it's the first time he actually cries in the books. And it's described that way. So this part in Limbo for me is very... it seems to me that Dumbledore, he's like, man, my plan kind of worked out. I can breathe easy.
And there we have a raw, transparent Dumbledore with no secrets, you know? Like, that's what's cool too. It's a Dumbledore with no secrets from Harry.
Okay, that's fair. I like all these discussions. Like a character like Dumbledore, the Ministry of Magic is trying to infiltrate Hogwarts, in the 5th book, the Order of the Phoenix, not just trying, actually succeeding, right? And because Dolores Umbridge, for example, is almost just small talk here. No, like, how do they allow Dolores Umbridge to have so much control there?
Dumbledore isn't above the law, man. It's the Ministry that appoints her. If the Ministry appoints her, how is he supposed to go against it? The Ministry makes the law in the dead of night.
I don't know. She tortures Harry,
And Harry chooses not to tell Dumbledore.
Uh-huh. Dumbledore has too much to deal with. I'm not going to tell him.
Yeah, he's ignoring him in this book, right?
Yeah, and Harry chooses not to tell, but Minerva questions the methods. Yeah.
But Hermione herself says, the first thing Hermione says when she sees Harry's hand, why don't you tell Dumbledore?
She questions it. In the book, it's Ron, right? Harry hides it. It's Ron who sees. And Harry says, no, I don't want to tell. No, leave it here. Did you get it? So, like Dumbledore, he's not... It's like Minerva says. When Harry yells at Umbridge, when he goes to her office, and she even says, would you like a cookie? Harry says that she was lying. And then Minerva says to him, didn't you understand that what's at stake here isn't about lying or telling the truth? These people are really powerful. They're, well, government people, man. Did you understand? They hold all the cards.
And whether we like it or not, Hogwarts can be whatever it is, but it's still a school.
Do you get it?
If the government wants to go there and keep an eye on things, right?
So if Dumbledore really acts the way the government is portraying him there, wanting to form an army and all, So that's why he keeps going. It's not that. There's a big difference between doing nothing and staying silent.
It's very different.
Doing nothing and staying silent are different things. He's silent, but he's taking action.
Yes, it's because he even has that whole scene with Phoenix.
Exactly.
He leaves, makes a triumphant escape, and then comes back to the department. Exactly.
He doesn't. He never leaves Hogwarts. He stays hidden in Hogwarts.
By the way, the series will have a lot of potential to show what happens to Dumbledore after he escapes, right?
Exactly. Man,
really awesome.
It's really cool.
So, I honestly can't see Dumbledore as this negative figure who manipulated. Yes, he manipulated. He had the ability to manipulate things. He had that experience. He could see it, and he guided situations in the direction he thought they could be resolved. And that's how Voldemort was brought down.
It was thanks to Dumbledore's great genius. It wasn't because of Harry's individual actions.
Did you understand? It was all orchestrated there. And it's cool because, we realize that Harry, sure, he's the chosen one, but he's never alone. He doesn't defeat Voldemort by himself. He doesn't do these things alone. In fact, when it comes to the Horcruxes, Harry destroys one, which is the diary. The others are all destroyed by different people. The ring is destroyed by Dumbledore. The cup is destroyed by Hermione. The locket is destroyed by Ron. The diadem is destroyed by Crabbe.
It burned in the Fiendfire.
Nagini is killed by Neville. So, it's not just about Harry. It was never just about Harry. He could be the chosen one. But Dumbledore understands that there's a whole structure that needs to move forward for things to happen. So, he plays the game. And he's the master. He's the best at it. He's good at it, I don't judge, man. I don't judge. I think Dumbledore is brilliant. To me, he's incredible.
I think he's a really brilliant character, man. I love Dumbledore.
Sirius is my favorite character, but my second favorite character is Dumbledore.
Man, and I'm really curious to see what John Lithgow's Dumbledore is going to bring that's different.
And in terms of depth,
The depth of Dumbledore, of Michael Gambon, and also of Richard Harris. I agree with a lot of people who say that Michael Gambon came at the right time, right? Because, like it or not, he's a more energetic Dumbledore. And everything you hear about Michael Gambon during production, during filming, is that he was, like, exceptional as well. I think he was just poorly directed in Goblet of Fire. Well, not poorly directed, but but in Order of the Phoenix. Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, and Prisoner of Azkaban, even in the limbo scene in Deathly Hallows, he's perfect, really.
I think the thing with Dumbledore is that Michael Gambon, he strays a lot from the Dumbledore in the book, right? Who's that calm guy and all?
And Richard Harris conveyed that much more.
And Michael Gambon, he said, look, I didn't read the books. I'm not going to read them because I want to play the character my own way. Yeah, that's it. Did you get it?
John Lithgow has already revealed that he read the first 2 books and was about to start the third. And something really cool that John Lithgow said is this. The first scene he filmed was the scene on Privet Drive when they leave baby Harry there at the Dursleys' doorstep. Yes. And he said he was on a television show and he said exactly the following. I was very nervous about that moment, I can't deny it. Because what I did at that moment would basically dictate what Dumbledore would be like in all the seasons. So it was the first time the audience would be seeing his performance as Dumbledore, yes, and we didn't see anything of him in the trailer, right? We only saw a quick scene of him appearing. In the documentary, we see him interacting with the children, with Alistair there. He's dancing with Alistair, and he's making some gestures with his hand like this. That really reminds me of that speech he gives in Philosopher's Stone, right? The pinch one. Everything. So I'm really curious to see what John Lithgow is going to bring that's different, because he's an actor, my friend.
Sensational.
And John Lithgow, he's highly regarded by the industry, yes. By the Emmys, the Golden Globes, the Oscars. There was an Oscar ceremony where they mentioned him more than twice during the broadcast. Yes.
Yeah, he's a guy who, if there's someone with the potential to play a deep Dumbledore, it's him.
And he's the greatest actor in the Harry Potter series. So far?
He's about 6'3".
But he really is.
He is. It's just that he's 6'4".
But we're being really serious, right? No.
No. I killed the mood. It was funny. That's what makes it funny. I didn't expect it. But he's tall too. And Minerva as well. She's 6'2". Wow. He's going to look short next to her.
And Nick Frost, who is Hagrid, who's 5'1", man.
5'7", man. Nick Frost I think that's his height. Seriously, what are the odds, right? He just showed up at the audition, man. Are you kidding? Is this a prank? Because at least Rob Coltrane, I think he was almost 6'3". But I was saying that of the actors already announced for the Harry Potter series, John Lithgow was probably the one they spent the most money on, without a doubt.
He probably made around 4,000 reais, but VR, no.
Certainly, I think he eats in the cafeteria there and he manages to save on It's Not Rio. It's not. But, I think the hiring of John Lithgow, the only actor who can compare to John Lithgow will be the actor playing Voldemort. He has a name, right? It's like the famous game Hogwarts Legacy, a AAA title, right? That hall. He's an Oscar-nominated actor and everything. And I think the only actor who will compare to him will be the actor playing Voldemort. To get both of them like that. I was watching the Order of the Phoenix battle between Dumbledore and Voldemort the other day. Rewatching it, right? The battle from the movie, it's great.
It's good. It's cool.
So, the battle, and look, in the book it's brilliant, yeah. I'll never forget reading Order of the Phoenix for the first time. The Department of Mysteries battle was one of the coolest parts of Harry Potter, and Neville breaking his nose and talking funny really stood out.
Is a fan world.
And the way J.K. writes and describes everything he's saying. And then I remember, I'll never forget, Harry and Neville were lying on the ground, and then we have the description of Dumbledore.
And the Death Eaters started running.
In the movies, he comes out of the fireplace and everything.
There's the scene. Him. What nonsense, you see? No, it was foolish of you to come here tonight.
I need to say this. There's a reel like this. It's me at 3 a.m. A thief breaks into my house after Corinthians loses. Then there's Dama. It was nonsense. It was foolish of you to come here tonight, Tom.
Wow, this scene is awesome.
It's really good. And his acting with Ralph Fiennes for me is the silence, right? The silence in this scene. Just the sound of the spells, the way he elbows Harry aside to get him away, and there's a lot that's cut from this battle compared to the books. There's the part with Fawkes, which
involves the Avada Kedavra. Man.
Absurd. So, guys, leave in the comments or in Momento Berador on KE Cold everything you thought about our debate, because there's a lot more to talk about. But let us know what you thought.
In short, do you think Dumbledore is a manipulative villain or not?
It's just that we put villain in the video title, of course, to get attention, but Dumbledore is never really going to be a villain, obviously.
And man, you'll have to forgive me. Knowing everything he knew, I would have acted the same way. I would do the same thing. Knowing everything he knows and all the possible outcomes, well, okay. Did a bunch of people die? Yes, they died. But many more would have if things were different.
So, after today's episode, you said at the beginning that you were going to defend Dumbledore fiercely and with a lot of authority, and that's exactly what you've been doing so far. Because I'm sure that a lot of Harry Potter fans also question this a lot, especially the audience that, sees Harry suffering there on Privet Drive and wonders why. But it's all connected. Now, if the movies did an average job like a 6 out of 10 in explaining all of this, then that's the movie's problem. That's why you recommend reading the books, right? So you can really understand everything that was behind what actually happens in the movie. Because that conversation Harry has in Order of the Phoenix in the movie and in the book, my friend, no, it's one of those things, conversation.
You can't even call it a conversation in the movie.
No, it's just a minute there. I've counted. I think it's 59 seconds of, I know how you feel. No, you don't. And then in the book, it's wonderful. Yeah, that kind of conversation.
Man, no, in the book, Dumbledore really opens up to Harry, right? That part, for me, is incredible.
When he says, I grew fond of you. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
It's really good. I couldn't tell you.
I knew I needed to, but I couldn't.
It's really good. No.
That it was him telling that Harry needed to be killed. That he was the chosen one.
Yeah. But then talking about this limbo moment and everything, when he goes and talks more with Harry, lets it all out. But I also think about the teachers, right? That hiring is something the man doesn't do well. You can't defend that. Come on.
There's that meme. Oh, I'm a hired werewolf. That meme is really good. Have you seen it?
He doesn't make good hires.
Dude, look, Quirrell. You know how Quirrell was hired, right?
He was a he used to teach Muggle studies before.
There's a game. That game, Hogwarts Mystery. It has 2 defense against the dark arts teachers before Quirrell. There are 2 there. Rachel Hackpick and Olivia Green. Olivia Green, she resigns and then Quirrell comes back. He's returning from his sabbatical year. And then Dumbledore kind of says, look, this professor position has opened up.
Don't you want it? A genuine question I have. Did Dumbledore know about the position? He knew. He did, right?
He knew.
It's just that because Voldemort kind of does it, he gets denied there at
the job interview. He tells Harry, well, you'll notice that since our meeting, no professor has lasted more than okay.
So he knew that the professor he hired wouldn't last a year in the position.
No, a school year. It's not that something would happen. Wow.
Tragic or disastrous with the teacher, but he just wouldn't stay. For some reason, he wouldn't.
Okay, Lockhart was kind of a wild card there, right?
No, Lockhart, he knew that. So, guys, exactly because of that. He already knew that Lockhart. He knew 2 wizards whose stories Lockhart had stolen and whose memories he had erased. So he hired him. He even says, there are teachers. We learn a lot from teachers, even what not to do.
So, he really hires Lockhart to expose him.
Right, to expose him. That's what expose does.
His fraud. Okay, got it. Oh, but let the students deal with it, right? Yeah, so I'm not going to be taught by a fraud in my... Oh, I see.
That's it, guys. But, or else, it's messed up. It's messed up.
My students are going to have terrible defense against the dark arts classes this year because I want to expose that the guy is a fraud.
Did the students not learn anything that year?
If they learned anything, it wasn't thanks to Lockhart.
Really? Lockhart couldn't have taught anything of quality, but he did teach them, through his bad example, how not to be.
The students ended up dealing with the Cornish pixies, whether they liked it or not, right?
But look, it's really that Dumbledore quote where he says, like, you learn a lot from a bad teacher.
Not just with a good teacher, you also learn from a bad teacher. Not necessarily the subject content, but you learn from a bad example how not to be, you know? Okay.
And man, he's a total jerk, Lockhart.
Everyone's had a bad teacher at school, the kind that actually makes you want to study on your own outside of class, so you can learn by yourself too.
So, like I said, it's really risky. Man, the student's education was terrible, but then in the third year he hires Lupin, who, honestly, is by far the best teacher.
Man, it's a shame that Lupin lost his job at the end of the school year, because nothing compares to this teacher's defense against the dark arts classes. Nothing. It's incredible. And by the way, he's the character I'm most excited to see in the series. Lupin, such a sweetheart of course, but it's because his story is really a...
You can see it's not just Dumbledore saying, let's hire a werewolf. He takes many precautions. Look, you'll have unlimited access to the potion stock, the Wolfsbane potion, which is, he transforms into a wolf, but he stays conscious. He keeps his human mind and stays calm. It's just that he didn't take the potion, he ends up not taking the full cycle of the potion. That's what happens at the end there. Right. Do you understand? So it's not like he just hired the werewolf to be there, whatever, on the full moon.
You can't deny what a great thing Dumbledore did by building the Whomping Willow.
He built all of that so Lupin could study.
Man, the guy is good.
Exactly.
Good-hearted.
Then in Goblet of Fire, we get really clear proof that Dumbledore, despite his genius, can be deceived.
Which is the case with Alastor Moody.
He is deceived. There, he is deceived. He only realizes it's not the real Moody when he takes Harry away.
When he sends the then but.
Barty Crouch Jr. is an excellent occlumens, for example.
Excellent.
Otherwise, he'd read his mind, right?
Excellent.
Excellent. And what about Dumbledore?
Every dark wizard is kind of a good one, of course.
Occlumens, right?
They wouldn't allow it. That's the first thing you learn, right?
They wouldn't just hand it over, right? Just give things away. And you see, he gets thoroughly fooled. He gets thoroughly fooled. He understands that strange things are happening, but one piece of the puzzle doesn't fit there. And it's exactly him being fooled right under his nose, man. You know? And that's another thing that goes against that Hogwarts theory, about only people without bad intentions being able to enter Hogwarts. Which isn't the case. It is the case, right? Barty gets in, you know? And later on, the Death Eaters also get in when the guy is in charge.
The fact that he fooled Dumbledore is really cool in all of this.
And right, Dumbledore can also be fooled.
And we're kind of like,
A human being?
Man, dude. Exactly. He gets fooled and he realizes he's being fooled. That he's being tricked because, man, Barty Crouch Jr. does it really well.
He does it really well. The plan is executed very well, you know?
But like Dumbledore, the whole era of the Order of the Phoenix back in the 70s and 80s when Alastor Moody was there, so Dumbledore spent a lot of time with Alastor. So we can say that Barty Crouch did his homework and managed to imitate Alastor Moody, right? Man, in a way that not even Dumbledore noticed.
And also because there was that thing like, oh no, he's kind of weird in his retirement.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so everything fit together to pass, right? Then in Order of the Phoenix, there's Umbridge, not Dumbledore.
They chose, the Ministry of Magic made the decision.
It was getting harder, and hiring a Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher was increasingly difficult since no one wanted the job. Lockhart himself was the only one who applied for the position. Okay, did you get it?
Like it was already yeah.
Because it's been years and years. Man, you know, if we do the math, it's more than 30 teachers since Voldemort cursed the position.
So it was already a position with a bad reputation.
Right? 30 years of teachers not staying for more than one school year. Okay.
And in Half-Blood Prince, Dumbledore just says screw it, he already brings in Dunnings.
Him and Snape.
No. Oh, it's because Horace teaches potions and Snape is leaving.
He picks Snape because he knows what's going to happen. Oh, you know, Snape is going to kill him at the end of the year. so he won't keep the position anyway.
So much so that everyone is kind of surprised when Snape becomes the defense against the dark arts teacher.
Do you really think he didn't put Snape in the position because he didn't want Snape to relapse into the dark arts? No. Come on, man. That's just a lame excuse. Something he could even tell other people. Like, oh, I don't give him the position because... Dude, it's because he knew he had to keep Snape close, and he was going to give him a position that the guy couldn't stay in.
Yeah, and thinking about someone reading the Half-Blood Prince for the first time, in those memories he shows of the Gaunts and everything, it shows Voldemort going there to ask him for a job. And then we find out that the position is cursed. And it's cool that we find this out kind of halfway through the book. So Snape won't... What will happen to Snape?
Exactly.
Because he won't make it to the end and they say...
Right? That's really cool. Something like that happened with a teacher. One died. I don't know what. Ron even says, let's hope something happens to Snape.
That's cool. And then there's Deathly Hallows in Nobody. Not Hallows.
In Deathly Hallows, it's Amicus Carroll.
It's Amicus Carroll, okay.
He doesn't stay, since the Battle of Hogwarts happens next.
Hogwarts is already happening afterwards.
When Voldemort is killed, the curse ends.
But it's really cool when you stop to think about each one individually. At least I like to do this kind of analysis. Because in fact, Dumbledore is, of course, he is the greatest wizard of all time. He's a human being. And also, at the same time that everything was happening, he was also discovering things, solving things.
He's prone to making mistakes. And another thing, he's prone to making mistakes.
So much so that in the cave scene, when he goes with Harry, he's all weak and he drinks the potion. He starts having a lot of memories about Ariana. Man, he's a human being. He's a guy who was there.
And?
Man showing his vulnerability to Harry more and more. And Harry too. In Deathly Hallows, I think that's really cool. Do you know why? Because in Deathly Hallows, just like the audience might be doubting who Dumbledore really is, Harry asks those questions too.
Exactly. That's really cool.
And it's cool because Deathly Hallows already starts out like that. Oh, Dumbledore, because everyone comes up to Harry. Oh, Dumbledore didn't tell you that? Did you really know him, Harry? Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool. Man, it also makes us have doubts.
It's really cool. So... this whole episode, I think it's a very genuine question because the book itself makes you think about it. About the dark sides, like of Dumbledore, you know?
And that also reinforces the idea that no character is 100% good. No character is 100% heroic. Dumbledore, he has his dark sides. He has his mistakes. He has his flaws. That's why I think he's so great, you know?
And I think he's a long way from a character like Snape, because Snape is much more morally gray. I think Dumbledore never showed as many characteristics of a bad character. Just like that, you know? He's just a guy who likes to be in the... It's really a big chess game. He likes to be in control of every piece and never lose that observation skill. Yeah. I think it's cool. And you guys, what do you think? Send it in through the Momento Berador or leave it in the comments. Did this episode mean something to you about a trial of Dumbledore? I want you to give your opinion.
Defense witness.
Kako Kardassi? Wow, Kako, please. He's going to show up there. Yeah, he puts Dumbledore in a Kako taking Dumbledore's place. Defense witness because, look, very good.
No, for me, Dumbledore, seriously, he's brilliant.
No, and I'm wrapping up today's episode, and that's why it was so important, you know? You really did a good job defending Dumbledore. You did your homework. Thank you. I'm going to leave here with he's a good old man, Dumbledore, you see?
See? Almost like Santa Claus. And
please bring on the Momento Berador,
where you send the messages and we read them here.
So, man, did you like Dumbledore? Don't like him? Send it in the next Momento Berador and we'll know your opinion. So let's go to the Momento Berador. Rafa, that's not what we want. Talita sent us our first question for today's Momento Berador. Guys, I love you and thank you so much for this podcast. And after that teaser, how's the hype?
It's way up there. It's already above the clouds. It's left the earth.
Man, I'm really excited. I think it was just a small teaser. To think that we haven't seen absolutely anything yet. We didn't even see Dominique speaking in this teaser. We only hear his voice, right? But we don't see his mouth moving. Let me tell you.
Sorry to interrupt you, but let me tell you something. You're going to think I'm crazy if I tell you that at least once a day, since that teaser came out, I hit play, too.
Watch it. Wow, you've already memorized it. That's what we're going to do with the episodes, man. So, until next Sunday, my plan is to watch the episode at least 8 times. But Harry Potter fans are like that. That's why you memorize the soundtrack, memorize the dialogue. It's going to be the same craziness now in this.
But the hype got really high.
Man, there are a lot of Ravenclaw fans among Seção Reservada's audience, you know?
Adias Corvino.
Kako, can you react to the video Carta Semiaberta sobre Harry Potter by Porta dos Fundos? Cheers. I watched that video, I thought it was really funny. But, man, I don't like doing reactions. I do reactions to trailers, teasers, stuff like that about Harry Potter, you know? I don't do reactions to other people's Harry Potter content. For me, it's not interesting. I really don't like doing it. So I'll have to pass on this one, alright? I don't like making this kind of content here.
But the one you did about Felipe Neto is really good.
It wasn't a reaction video, right?
It was a counterpoint to the things said in that one. But that video is really good. Rafa Zelufano sent it here. Something I noticed in the teaser was that Hagrid doesn't have that heavy accent from the English books. Honestly, we can hear a very sweet voice from Nick Frost there without a heavy accent. But let me tell you something. Sometimes the actors also record voiceovers just for the trailer, okay? So, of course, I believe that's the voice of Hagrid that we're going to see in the series. But sometimes he might have moments where his accent is stronger.
Yeah, Hagrid doesn't really have that accent. Even in the movies, he barely has one.
Yeah, he does speak with a little bit of it still.
It's very little, but Hagrid's accent is really more of a hillbilly accent, right?
In the book, she exaggerates so much that sometimes you can't even understand.
Not in Portuguese.
You can even understand what he's saying.
Mari, she sent the following. Could it be Mari?
No, it's not. I don't know. It is.
It could be a surprise. Let me see.
Do you guys think Mrs. Fig will be introduced in the first season? Thank you for your work, Hart. Thank you so much for the love.
I think she'll be introduced in the first season. She'll appear, at least.
There's an Easter egg of her showing up, or at least being mentioned, right? The neighbor is called Mrs. Fig. I believe so. I really hope so, too. We have Samuel Keller. He said, I loved the teaser. And my favorite scenes were also the ones where Harry is having fun and being happy.
Oh, cool.
No, I love that transition from the teaser where he's being mistreated to him laughing with Alistair there with Ron. Man, that scene of them in front of the fireplace or opening the Nimbus, it's such genuine happiness. This kid, listen to what I'm saying, okay? I don't want to put pressure on them, on the kids.
Watching right now.
Dominique, stay calm. Please don't feel pressured by what I say. But I think you guys are going to get along really well, man. The main trio plus Lox Pratt is going to be a mix of good guys. Wow, Manu, it's with my girlfriend's book club. It's called Tea with Dragons, Mari's book club.
Manu, Tea with Dragons. Tea with Dragons is Mari's book club? Yeah, The Dramione fan base is huge. Any small interaction between the two is already like, wow.
See, it's because in the club,
Dramione sounds like a drug name, Manu.
in my girlfriend's book club, or even in the romantasy genre, that book over there is really famous there, the
Manaclet.
Clamized, Alchemized. Based on the fanfic, you realize how many people are fans of Draco and Hermione.
And there are. Of course there are.
Agree or not, it's part of people's imagination.
Of course, right?
And now, to wrap up today's Parador moment, Elias Rabelo sent this wonderful trailer. Anyone who's a fan and didn't get emotional is crazy. I'm looking forward to today's Mirror Scene Zay. That's it.
It's Elias.
I think that Elias there,
Crazy Elias, but no.
Elias Rabelo. Yeah, crazy is the one who didn't get emotional.
No, Elias Maluko is that criminal, man. The drug dealer wasn't.
Oh, Elias Maluko? Well, I'm really excited for this scene too. We even mentioned, I think in the previous episode we recorded, that Dominic is really going to bring a lot to that moment. There's even an actor hired to play the older Roni. Older, that's right. So they're really going to really focus on it. No.
Let's talk about something they told me, okay? They told me this with all due respect, okay? Hey, Brandon, with all due respect to your work. They could do it with AI. My brother.
Oh, the older actor?
Man, it's aging him up with AI. It turned out really cute. No.
Hiring an actor just for him to show up there. No, it's really good. It's really good. And this level of detail they're putting in for me makes me even more excited for the production. But that's it. We're wrapping up today's Momento Berador here. We're done. Want to go back to the classic? Think of a phrase for today's episode about Dumbledore. To wrap up today's episode,
I'll end with a classic phrase.
Goofy, crybaby, foul-mouthed, and pinch.
Perfect. Episode 31 coming out here at Caldeirão Furado. Fulado looks like a little ball.
We reused this one, right? We had already mentioned it in an earlier one.
From the big doodle, from the big doodle.
From the big doodle. Dude, what's this, my friend?
Thanks, guys. Another Seção Reservada for you.
Thanks for watching Caldeirão Furado.
Fulado, we're in this together.